Steve, welcome into the game here in Tuscaloosa. I hope you're doing well.
Oh, man, fired up to be on in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, going for their 7th straight recruiting national championship with 24/7 Sports. It's pretty much sewed up right now, and that Hootie and the Blowfish intro, I was tired, but now I'm fired up again. I'm rocking and rolling here.
Yeah, no doubt. Darius Rucker can flat out do it to it, man. He gets me fired up every day at 3 o'clock. It's our 3 o'clock song.
There are no questions, brother. There are no questions.
All right, so I want to get into some recruiting nuggets with you, but let me ask you, how did this Crimson Tide team, how do you think they'll finish these final couple of hours and leading into this National Signing Day with a couple of spots vacant?
Well, I think that, the one guy that you immediately point to and say he's going to be in the class, the number one player in the state for 24/7 Sports, 5-star defensive end, LeBron Ray. He's also considering Florida and Tennessee. I would be surprised if Alabama lost that recruiting battle there, but there's several other big names on the board for the Crimson Tide. 5-star defensive tackle Aubrey Solomon, a pair of 5-star receivers per our 24/7 Sports rankings in Devontae Smith and Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs being our number one receiver in the country overall. Those are a few of the names on the board that could certainly end up in Alabama's class, as could Fedarian Mathis, the defensive tackle out of Louisiana, Jerez Parks, the defensive lineman out of Florida. So lots still to follow on Bama Online for you Alabama recruitniks.
Let me go here for just a couple of minutes. When you look at guys that are early enrollees, instant impact guys, and I'll maybe try to get some predictions as we tie up the conversation coming up in the latter part of the interview, but early enrollees right now for Alabama, give me a couple of guys that you think could help this Crimson Tide team out, try to go back and win a national title in 2017.
I think the guy that I point to right off the bat is Isaiah Buggs, a junior college transfer out of Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, number 2 player in the land in our 24/7 Sports JUCO rankings. I think he'll be an instant impact difference maker. I think that when you look at Dylan Moses, will make an impact on special teams. He's just a freak athlete at the linebacker position. Nagi Harris, you got to figure he cracks the running back rotation at some point. Tua Tagovailoa, just by demand, they got to play more than one quarterback. You would think, right? You're not going to just play. He's going to compete for the starting job, but even if he doesn't win it, I would think he's going to see the field. No one plays just one quarterback throughout the season. And then obviously, when you look at the 2 receivers, Jerry Jeudy and Tyro Shavers, Jerry Judy's arguably the top receiver in the land, and Tyro Shavers is a 6'6", 200-pound freak athlete out of Louisville, Texas. He's got special upside if it comes together for him in Tuscaloosa. And then the jewel of the class, in my opinion, the guy that could hear his name called number 1 in the NFL draft down the road, if it's not Tua Tagovailoa, it's Alex Leatherwood, the offensive tackle out of Pensacola, Florida.
Let me go back to Nagi Harris. You've heard the thoughts when people evaluate his skill set, 6'3", 226-pound. Is he a guy that, when you look at running back prospects, I mean, we've heard the talk. I'm not sure how much of it is true, but we've heard talk that reminds some people of Adrian Peterson coming out of high school. We've heard Leonard Fournette. I mean, is he that type of elite back in your opinion?
No, but he's at the very top of the next tier. He's not. I don't have him as a once in a lifetime or a once in a generation guy, but he's certainly uber talented and deserves every accolade that he's gotten so far. A guy that's arguably the top high school football player in the country, regardless of position. A shifty running back at 226 pounds. He's a unique prospect. There's no question about that.
Let me go here as we move forward. You talked about 7. They're trying to go 7 straight. You feel like that's already locked up there at 24/7 Sports. What makes Nick I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, unless something just unprecedented happened and Alabama put up a goose egg this week, which won't happen.
What makes Nick Saban the great recruiter that he's been able to develop here at Alabama? What makes him one of the best in the business, if not the best all time?
Well, I think their best trait is that they identify the type of guy that's going to be successful within their program. and then they develop them. It's one thing to just recruit blue chippers, but the guys that Nick Saban and the Alabama staff settle in on are guys that then come in and perform at a high level. There's not a lot of bust factor with these kids, and they have the mantra iron sharpens iron, and that's certainly the case at Alabama. And guys work their way up the depth chart from special team warrior to eventual first round draft pick, and it's their keen eye for talent, and then their keen eye for the intangibles, the competitive nature, the leadership qualities, the guys that aren't going to fold early in their careers because they're not getting the downs that they want to get. It's just, I think their ability to find Alabama guys that are going to succeed in their tough atmosphere and flourish, that's the trait. Because let's be honest, beyond that, the program sells itself, and they still got to go out there and recruit. They still, Florida State wants these kids, Ohio State wants these kids, Clemson wants these kids, so it's not a given that they're going to get them. But they have more ammunition when they walk in the living room, typically with the guys getting drafted and the national championships and the SEC titles. So for them, it's maintaining that level of excellence. They've turned that roster over several times under Nick Saban, and yet the results have been the same. So the mind-blowing thing to me is that they just don't miss on the guys that are going to succeed within the structure of their program, and that's the unique trait that they have.
Billy Napier and also Mario Cristobal now no longer part of the staff, moving on out to the Pac-12. How does this impact recruiting?
Well, obviously those guys did a good job at recruiting, and they were passionate about it, and they like to roll their sleeves up and get the best players they possibly could. But, coach is going to replace them with capable guys that are going to now walk out there with that same Alabama logo on their golf shirt. They're going to have a tremendous amount of power behind their name, and you just have to bring energy on the trail and be genuine within your relationships, and from there you got a great shot at a kid.
Let me go to Georgia here for just a couple of minutes. Right now I'm looking at the team rankings on 24/7 Sports. Georgia's at number 3. How big of a class will this be for Kirby Smart in year number 2?
Well, they want to add a couple more, and obviously Kirby Smart, he learned from one of the best in Nick Saban, and he's adding his own flavor to what he's doing in Athens. And, Georgia's getting that first-year bump on the trail that you typically get at programs of prestige that have a coaching change. He's done a nice job in state and went out and landed some really good outer-region guys. Offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson, he's a guy that's in that same Alex Leatherwood. Those are just two offensive linemen that look completely different getting off the bus than any other prospect in America. Walker Little being the third in that group. Foster Sarrell, so two of those guys going to Stanford. DeAndre Swift, the running back out of Pennsylvania, was another huge get for them, and they also landed the best receiver out of Pennsylvania in Mark Webb. So I really like I think where Kirby Smart's done the most in this class is he's really upgraded the athleticism on defense, so I think that you'll see Georgia play a little faster down the road.
Also, I go to number 9, Texas A&M, and number 10, Auburn. When we look at coaches on the hot seat, Kevin Sumlin and Gus are on the hot seat. How are they able to stay in that top 10 on recruiting right now with the uncertainty there is the direction of their program and the seats that are very uncomfortable, but for both of those head coaches?
Well, for Texas A&M, I just think Kevin Sumlin's always been a good recruiter. That's never been the issue under him, and there they are again with another top 10 class. For them, it's, can they figure out how to play a better brand of football late in the season? So maybe this is the class that gets them over the hump. And then when you look at Auburn, they have the most pivotal recruiting get in America in the number 1 ranked JUCO prospect, Jared Stidham, who's the Baylor transfer. Completed over 60% of his passes as a true freshman at Baylor. That's remarkable to see the field that well as a true freshman, and he'll be at Auburn ready to go. You like what Auburn has defensively for sure. They got some nice pieces at the skill position and a good O-line, but the problem has been under center. solidified that in this recruiting class with Jared Stidham. You got to be very excited about that. And then I really like what they've done at linebacker in this class as well with T.D. Moultrie, the headliner, a guy that we have ranked as a 5-star.
All right, going back to Alabama's class, do you mind if we get a couple of predictions here for you as we close out?
Let's let it rip.
Aubrey Solomon, defensive tackle there from Leesburg, Georgia. At the end of the day, where does he end up signing on Wednesday?
So my 24/7 Sports crystal ball is on Michigan right now, but Tim Watts and those guys at BOL will tell you that there's no way in hell I'm ruling out the Crimson Tide here. This is just a traditional recruiting win that they seem to get at the end, year in and year out. USC's in the mix for Aubrey Solomon also, and multiple people tell me it's a Michigan-USC battle, but I refuse to eliminate Alabama, and we'll see what happens.
LeBron Ray, I don't think there's any doubt that he's coming to Tuscaloosa, but
we talked about that already.
Sure.
This segment, that's one of the crystal ball picks that you feel really good about regardless of school.
And Henry Ruggs, you feel the same way?
So I have Ruggs and Devontae Smith both crystal ball to Alabama. My question is, can they get them both? And talking to Tim Watts yesterday from Bama Online, he thinks so, and I'm not ruling it out. Obviously, there was a time where I thought they would. Devontae's a kid that, he was going to commit in the summer, and that was all Alabama, and I've just had him in the class since then. I have an eyebrow raise for Florida State and Henry Ruggs there, but right now I got them both in Alabama's class, and we'll see.
Jerez Parks.
I think he's going to Alabama, unless something changes. I think he's going to end up playing for the Crimson Tide.
Fadarian Mathis?
So Fadarian Mathis is obviously a close one, and one where Nick Saban's in the past broken LSU's heart, but right now I have him to LSU. But there's no doubt that the interest in Alabama is very real.
So what do you think Alabama ends up with as far as total commitments, signees on Wednesday?
Well, they could land, 5 more?
Right.
So that takes them to 30, I could see them getting there. I don't know if that changes anything for some people already in the fold, but I could see them getting to 30.
Man, what a class when you look at Alabama. I mean, where would this one – go ahead.
This might be the best of the 7.
That's where I'm going, yeah.
Yeah, my colleague Barton Simmons said that today. We did a CBS show that we do every Monday, and, that's what he said. And when you think about it, they have 3 of the top 10 players in the country for the 24/7 Sports composite, or there was 3, but now it's 3 of the top 15. They have five 5-stars already committed. The freak athleticism. They have the number 1 JUCO offensive lineman and number 1 JUCO defensive lineman in this class. It's just such a unique group. The number of top 100 commits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have 10 top 100 commits, so a tenth of the top 100 already committed to Alabama with several more of those guys in play. It's just, this is their best work yet.
Is Nick Saban the best recruiter you've ever covered?
Well, I think that you got to include Urban Meyer in there.
Sure.
Their class this year, pound for pound, is the best class that we've ever seen. They just only have 19 commits. They'll probably finish with 21. But we've never had a recruiting class at 24/7 Sports ever have an average ranking of commit of over 94. And Ohio State's at like 95.6 or something like that right now. So they are blowing it out of the water from a pound-for-pound standpoint. They have 19 commits. 18 of them are 4-stars to the 24/7 Sports composite. So that's when you combine 24/7 Scout, Rivals, and ESPN. 18 of Ohio State's 19 commits are 4-stars, and the one that isn't is a kicker. So 16 of them rank in the top 247, and then the other one's a linebacker that's 4-stars, and the other is your boy Kendall Sheffield, who's the number 3 JUCO player that's now going to give it a whirl at Ohio State.
Steve Wiltfong helping us out there, 24/7 Sports, Director of Recruiting, Recruiting Insider for 24/7 Sports. Also, BamaOnline.com is the local website that covers the University of Alabama. Travis Ryer, Tim Watts, Hank South, and all those guys. Charlie Potter doing a great job at BamaOnline.com. Steve, thank you again for spending a couple of minutes with us. I know it's a busy week for you guys. Try to get a little bit of sleep before National Signing Day.
Well, it's Thursday. I'm going to drive home. I'm in Nashville. I'm going to drive home with my Darius Rucker album blaring in the car to keep me awake after this. I live in Indianapolis, so that's a 4.5-hour haul, and I'm going to be tired Thursday because there's not much sleeping from now until signing day Wednesday.